Welcome back to Season 5, Episode 1 of Teed Up, where everyone's a sports expert.
The podcast that makes you care about sports, including President Connolly.
We are an original podcast created and produced by Long Beach State's student-run newspaper, the Long Beach Current.
I'm Maddie G.
I'm Maddie C.
And today, we've brought together two of the four founding fathers of the last great sports podcast, Teed Up. For those of you who don't know, this will be Maddie C. and myself's last season hosting this podcast.
Ooh.
And back when it started, it was nothing but banter.
Yep.
Last season, we grew, we learned, we did a lot of interviews, but we're returning to our roots. This is a comedy podcast. I want like-minded sports fans on every week. We'll have interviews once a month. Let's have some fun.
All right.
Naoki, we got you here today.
5 seasons, you know.
5 seasons.
I think if you would have told me when we did season 1 that we'd be in a 5th season, I wouldn't have believed you. I don't think finishing season 1, I don't think we were lucky to start a season 2.
If this was on network, we would have been canceled.
Oh, 100%. Once we talked about the 50 some odd stitches, I think that would have been it.
So many things. And his canter.
And his cancer, yeah. There's a lot of men's basketball, Long Beach State men's basketball.
Going at them each and every week.
Every week, without
Thank you,
fail.
Sonny.
Yeah, miss you, King.
Let's look back on how this podcast came to be. Those original meetings, I mean, people thought I was a guest.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so funny because my first semester here, fall of 22, I was barely here, right? I was working at UPS. I wasn't really here most days. But in the last day of that fall semester, right before we're about to go on break, Isabel, the former podcaster, the other one of the founding fathers, she had asked me, I was about to walk out the door of the newsroom. Hey, we're going to start this podcast for sports. Do you want to join us? And I was like, oh, sure. Just let me know like what's going on, what we're going to do, whatever. And then you come on. I think you committed before I did, right?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I was a guest.
Yeah.
Like, I was just legitimately a guest, and then they just let me keep coming back.
But then you and I started off as the beach sports correspondents, right? We were covering almost every game that was happening, especially in that spring, super busy. And then it kind of just progressively evolved, and it became what it became. And then Sonny trashing men's basketball on a weekly basis in the spring, and then, him, Isabel, and Sonny yelling at each other over baseball.
Joey Gallo.
was
Jose Altuve.
Jose Altuve Appreciation Society core members. And then I think our first guests, I want to say, was Mateo and Macher. Renzo has come on.
Renzo, I think, was one of the first ones, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Renzo was the very, very first guest.
The Maddies.
The Matts.
Well, Matt and Oliver.
Matt and Oliver.
Christina.
But then she would become
a
host later on. And then we would migrate over to this space. We were recording in the 22 studio for almost the entirety of season 1. Great space. I love that studio.
It was a great studio. I miss our fans.
We would wave to the touring high school, elementary school, middle school kids passing by the window. I know Aiden loved editing that when someone would talk on the other side of the table and just me and Matt like just waving at kids. But yeah, I mean, it's so crazy how it started and what it became.
I mean, the fact that we quickly transitioned to our first actual guest being Bobby.
Yeah. I remember I had gotten the idea when I went to Bobby's introductory press conference in the summer. And then gotten the chance to like see him there, and then I forget how it all came about of bringing him on the show, because we had our connection with Roger Kirk and Lindy, which to this day the greatest blessing of my time here is having those two in our corner backing us every single week to get us the athletes and the people.
They're pulling through.
They're pulling through. They carried season 2 and 3. For us. So I remember getting him on, huge guest. For a long time, it was our most viewed episode on YouTube.
It was.
And then after him was Amy.
Amy Wright,
right, for October.
The fiddler.
The JJ one. I mean, JJ was just a connection thing. We've seen him at every game. And then it was the twins, if I'm not mistaken.
No. Then it happened. President Connolly.
Was that season 2? Was that season 3?
President Connolly.
Were the Golf
3.
Twins season 3 also?
Yeah.
Was our only guests? Oh, but then we had Barb and Gary in season 2.
Barb and Gary.
And your Angels boy.
Sam Blum.
Sam Blum.
Sam Blum coming on the podcast and then never once responding after. It was never be forgotten.
Was that all of our outside of
Long Beach connections?
Yeah. Was that all of our guests for that?
Yeah.
Well, that was season 3.
Yeah.
For season 2. And then Connolly. That was a crazy thing. To this day, can't believe it.
I was on academic disqualification. For those who don't know. When the President Connolly situation came, I had to fight to get back into this school as he was planning to get Connolly on.
No, that was in the summer.
Yeah.
We got Connolly on in the next spring.
Wait, really?
Yeah, that was the first episode of season 3 was bringing Connolly on. So it was funny. Matt texts me in the summer. I'm doing like Uber Eats. I'm trying to like just make a little extra money. He texts me and he goes, "Hey, I can't come back to Long Beach. I'm academically disqualified." And I'm like, "Bro, what?" So that just completely threw off everything for season 2.
Yeah.
Because Sunny graduated, Isabel graduated, Christina was like beach media full time, and so from what it looked like going into season 2, I was gonna be like the lone host of this show, which was not ideal. But there was one day in particular that summer. This is like what, a month before school started, Aiden? Me, Aiden, and Crystal had like a 4-hour Zoom call about what in the world is gonna happen. So there were a couple different avenues we could go through. Matt was like, "I'm gonna get this appealed. I'm gonna try to like get back into school."
Fight it. Yeah, I fought it.
And he fought it, and he won. To be fair,
I did. I ran a good case.
he did. He got a great lawyer.
Great lawyer.
Matt Ryan, shout out. No, but so we were kind of discussing. Okay, if Matty G doesn't come back, we can have like this kind of rotating 3-headed monster of guests every single week. Well, it was Maher, we were with Shopping Kevin and Manny and Maddie C, who we didn't know was gonna be here at the time, but like it was kind of like we're kind of in this cycle. Like we can have like me be the lone host and just kind of like bring in a rotating group of guests, and then if you were gonna come back, we're gonna try to have 4 hosts kind of on a consistent basis, like have like essentially just replicate season 1. And we were thinking Maher, of course, Kevin, and a bunch of other people. We were kind of like thinking about who we wanted to bring in and everything. And then you end up coming back. We still kind of start the new year without a plan. And we're just kind of like, okay, like who in the new, like orientation day at for what was the 49er before. And, you know, naturally you kind of just gravitate towards people with similar interests. And then we have, you know, the sports circle, right? Like we kind of form the sports circle, and then from there we just kind of like, okay, we just use this pool of people that we have and just kind of bring them in whenever they're free, whenever they want to, and then Bobby comes on, and once Bobby came on, that just kind of opened up the floodgates to like
what we could become,
what we could do,
the views we could pull.
Yeah, the people we could find.
And then it felt rushed by then too. Everyone was like, "Who's coming on next? Who's the heir?"
Yeah, who was gonna follow up? Then you know, and it's funny because we'll bring on like a Bobby, an Amy, eventually a Connolly. Then like the next we would have like 2 people from the newsroom. It would be like Matt and like somebody else that they have to follow up this like once in a lifetime kind of guest. And but then going to Connolly, I had originally thought, okay, this is full disclosure, I'm gonna like give you guys some real background and context to how this happened. I thought about this idea of bringing on Connolly. Appel not so much, but Connolly for sure I wanted. I was in the shower. I was taking a shower. It was after we recorded one of our shows.
Okay.
It was like right before Thanksgiving break.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like I thought about this idea, and I was like, I mean, it could happen. Like we could do this. Like we got Bobby, we got Amy, we brought in all these people. Like this is something like we brought in Sam Blum and JJ, and I was like, this is something that we could do. I just wasn't sure how we would go about doing it. And then I was at a Friendsgiving event that week at Thanksgiving, And there was a couple 49er people and beach media people amongst this Friendsgiving thing, and I put this idea out on the dinner table, and they're like, how the heck are you gonna do that? And I was like, I don't know yet, but I'll try to figure it out. And then break passes, and then me and Aiden are outside of the newsroom when we're both supposed to be in class trying to find like the routes to get to Connolly and how to contact Connolly. And then I remember like, I don't know how we got to Scott, like somewhere. Oh, we just looked at the athletics page, right? Scott was like CFO of athletics or whatever. So then like emailed him, emailed her. They both got back to me like right away. Their offices got back to me right away. And they're like, okay, let's set up a day in January. And we're like, perfect. And then I contacted them a week before the spring semester started, or a week before the actual date of the show. Because that week, the semester was supposed to start, but then all the strikes happened that week.
Oh, yeah.
So then the semester started a week later. So then I confirmed, like, hey, just want to make sure that this week we're good, right? And like, oh, yeah, perfect. Pulled up, no PR. It was just Scott and Jane by themselves, and me and Matt kind of walk in like, whoa, okay, like this is dangerous.
Was this the episode you threw up before?
I did. I threw up before, yeah. I went to the restroom and I threw up before. I was nervous out of my mind. I was extremely nervous because this is like the president of the school we're talking about here. And then me and Maddie C, we have our own stories with Jane later on. And then it's so funny because up until that point, I had never seen President Connolly ever. Seen her on the orientation video. I've seen her face around campus. I've seen her at some games. But after that day, I've seen her at least once a week. Like at the very least once a week for the rest of the semester. But no, that was getting Connolly on was insane. It was a life-changing episode for me.
It cemented our legacy.
It did.
Yeah.
We were the Jane Connolly people.
I mean, they still ask us today to get Connolly back. And I feel like I don't think our advisors will like hearing that this is a comedy podcast.
Going back to our roots.
Going back to roots. I mean, no one knew this until like, 2 days ago? I think I pitched it to you in class on Wednesday.
Yeah, you were like, hey, changes are coming. I'm like,
Bro,
okay.
See, now you get to see kind of, you've been through a semester with him, kind of letting him, or like kind of you took the reins a little bit. It's a bit more balanced now. But now that Matt's comfortable with you, then he starts going like, hey, we're doing this today. And I'm like, okay.
You know, it just felt like the time was right
It did.
to go back to comedy, go back to our roots.
Were we ever not like a comedy show though? I mean, the time I was here, we were a comedy show.
We're a comedy show still, but we brought on way too many guests.
Oh, in
a way.
season 4?
Every week was
I can
a
tell that
guest.
you led the way in that way too.
No, Maddie was scared. He was
Really?
scared.
Yeah,
Wow.
those first couple episodes, it was like TJ Bruce and LaTanya Sheffield. I was like,
LaTanya's a big one too.
I know.
She was coaching
Team
the
USA,
Team USA,
gold medal.
gold
Yeah.
medal.
I was like, ugh.
That's huge.
Yeah, we just went. I mean, if you go look at season 4 teed up,
It's pretty loaded.
TJ Bruce,
Yeah,
LaTanya Sheffield,
of course.
you,
Jocko.
Don't group me in there.
Roger Kirk,
Okay.
Alan Knight. Like that was the first 5
And then
episodes.
Bobby.
And then
Bobby
Bobby
later
came on.
I
Half the
came.
Dirtbags
Half
roster.
the Dirtbags roster.
Yeah.
We got the hockey team on.
That was cool. That was a cool episode. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
It was just and a solo pod.
Yes. Is that
That
the
wa-
only?
I think that
Solo
is the
teed
only
up.
solo
That's
pod in
all.
teed up
Where
history.
were you that day?
Is that when I burned myself?
Yes.
Yeah. It's when I suffered the 2nd-degree burns from consomme. I had to take some
See?
PTO.
See, this is never not a comedy show, dog. But yeah, I remember when me and Maddie C went to the Hall of Fame ceremony. That was an interesting day. We met Mike Walter.
Yeah.
Got to meet the men
The Walter Pyramid.
named
Yeah.
after the Walter Pyramid.
He was a chatty guy.
He was. He gave me his business card.
Yeah.
Get him on.
Dude.
Mike Walter.
Mike Walter.
Come on, man. Sir.
After he fixes the pyramid,
Facts.
come on over.
I'm sure he's knighted somewhere.
Shading him.
I remember Matt was like trying to figure out like who to interview, or like he wanted to, like he was like kind of looking around. He's like, who do I
Because there were like 15
There
people
was a
being
bunch of
inducted.
people.
This year it's like 5.
Yeah, it was the first one.
Yeah, in like 5 years.
So then one of the funniest things was, we're kind of walking around, and then Matt goes up to Bobby, introduces himself, and then like out of the corner of Bobby's eye, he sees me. He goes, "I know this guy." Daps me up.
I know. It was like that video with Obama.
Yeah, that was almost the entire night with me and Matt, because people in the athletics, they just kind of know who I am, and then Matt was an intern in athletics and didn't know who he was. Justin was the same thing. Like he like handshakes him, daps me up, and Jane shakes his hand, hugs me.
Yep.
Dude, what an iconic night.
It was a good time. Good time.
It was a good time.
Good food.
Great food too, actually.
Getting on to the actual sports.
Yeah.
We've talked enough about what this podcast is and is again now. MLB offseason.
Dodgers going crazy.
Can't win.
Can't win.
I can't win.
Okay.
Whether it's regular season or the off season.
Did anything shock you about it?
How much help do you guys need? Like, honestly. Like,
I feel like we said this kind of on our show, not really on air, but in our group chat. Like, what the Dodgers are doing is kind of like what City does, what Manchester City does, but Dodgers are kind of doing it legally, right? They're signing all these big names, so like these super small contracts.
yeah, deferring the money.
Deferring all the money, and yeah, it's like it's what City does, but just legally.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally,
How do you feel about it as an Angels fan?
if we go back into teed up history, when Cohen made all the moves with the Mets, I said that I think it's really good for baseball when an owner spends. I don't feel that way
really
so
spending,
much anymore, though. Yeah, it's the deferred money for me that's really like been an issue.
Yeah.
And then like Roki Sasaki for $6 million when it's like a $300 million player, kind of crazy.
You know, Yoshi and Shohei has something to do with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I heard Shohei texted Andrew Friedman before the deal was even done, saying like, we got him.
See.
No one's got that dog in them. No one wants to go beat
The Dodgers.
Everyone wants to go join them.
I really thought he was a Padre.
Who, Roki? Yeah.
He could have been with Yu Darvish, his childhood idol over there.
But you guess now you get to see him with the best player on the planet.
Hi Sung Kim.
Yeah.
And they got Blake Snell from the Giants.
Blake Snell was a big one. I like that signing a lot.
I mean, Kirby Yates, everyone was talking about being like, he had the second best ERA of any relief pitcher last year.
And they got the Shohei stopper.
Tanner Scott.
That was late, too. That was like recent. That was like a week ago.
But we also can move over to the other team, arch rival, your team.
The good guys.
Signing a pitcher older than Tim Lincecum.
Yeah. Future Hall of Famer.
Kate Upton.
Yep.
According to Zoom.
She's going to be up in the Bay.
That's a good signing, though, Verlander.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's 1 year. I don't.
It's like Chris Paul going to the Spurs, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point?
I don't know.
You like him to bounce back?
I'm inclined to go to a game to see Justin Verlander pitch.
Okay.
That's true.
We got to have another
baseball
night this upcoming season.
Hey, Angels make one more move. I think we're going to the playoffs.
You guys also had a very active offseason as well.
We did, and then we didn't. It was like all at the beginning.
Yeah.
We haven't done anything in like
within
weeks.
The first week.
Like as soon as the World Series ended, like y'all started going.
Yeah. Signing like 0.5 WAR win players.
Yeah. I would love to see the Angels make the playoffs. Anything to quiet Dodger fans in the slightest would.
Now
just
we
make my
need
day.
those ticket prices to stay low.
That's true.
We need them to
we all went to a game last year for like
each ticket was like
$35 total for like 10 of us.
We paid more for parking than our tickets.
Yeah.
Parking and concessions.
Concessions, yeah. I paid more for my hot dog than I did for my Angel ticket.
That was a good time.
It was a great time, though.
I saw Mike Trout hit a leadoff bomb.
We became the Joe Adele fan club.
Oh, yeah. The Adele Alley.
Yeah, I was lifting Manny up like a child.
Oh, man.
Like the Lion King.
I can't believe he didn't throw him a ball.
I was like, Joe, my kid wants a ball, Joe.
It was a little birthday celebration, too, for me.
I think it was Manny.
Yeah. April. Yep.
It was what? Us three, Manny.
Davis.
Zach. Jason. Was it?
I think
that was it.
Yeah.
But no, that was a good day. And then we got tacos afterwards.
Yeah.
What a night. We got to have another one of those nights, man.
We got to have some 49er days. Long Beach Current days.
Whoa. Pump the brakes.
I'm just reminiscing.
Are you guys going to the 75th anniversary thing at the
Who
Nugget?
didn't know? We were just talking about that.
Yep.
Aiden didn't know it was a thing.
I'm going to be there.
The 75th thing?
Aiden doesn't get Sam Far fans emails.
I get an email.
I did, too.
There you go.
We'll be there.
We'll be there.
You gonna be there?
Yeah, it's right after.
We should
day
film a
record.
live episode there. It's on a Friday.
Will they let us do that though?
We should have an episode and we just have like roundtable guests for like 5-minute segments.
Well, we've talked about doing that before in the Nugget, but this time we'll be running the Nugget, so we can do whatever we want.
Good. We
Just
could
be
do
like,
whatever we
oh,
want.
this person's coming on real quick.
Can we
kind of like when a team wins the Super Bowl and they just bring on players like
Yeah.
after post game, just like
Can we just have like 4 microphones?
That actually be really
the
fun.
one for 3 of us, and then just one rotating guest.
I actually think that's a good idea.
sorry,
roast
Aiden,
Tito.
you're not gonna be doing anything. You're gonna be
be editing the YouTube video
you're gonna be
afterward.
recording. Make sure you get that night free.
Basoto to the Mets. How do you guys feel about that one?
Okay, I've been
He's worth
preaching.
it.
Going
Yeah,
across the
He's
pond.
worth it.
I've been preaching about Soto for so long.
You like Soto?
He's a top 5 player in baseball.
Mhm.
He is.
I mean, he's gonna probably go down as a top 10 player all time.
You think so?
He's 26.
Yeah.
Like he has so many years left to
He's got a
just keep
15-year
going.
deal though with the Mets. You think he'll play out through the whole 15?
The way he plays, yeah. I don't see like much of his game going unless he gets like some sort of retina
Like
damage.
catastrophic injury.
I don't even
And
think an
he's
injury.
been pretty clean history,
Yeah.
or
Hmm.
injury history wise.
That's true.
For me, it's the eyes. Like the eyes stay, he's gonna be good his whole career.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like him a lot too, even though he was a Yankee.
Yeah.
But he made some really good plays in that run that they got into the World Series.
What
He
a
was the best player on
sad
that
run.
team.
What a
He was
sad
100%.
run.
Yeah.
He was.
If only Soto would have had some help,
Mhm.
there would have been a parade in New York City.
that game. What inning was that? Where they gave up like
Fifth
the-
inning, I
Fifth
think.
fifth inning? They gave up
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 runs.
Yeah.
Judge.
Catastrophic.
Judge make some. Jazz Chisholm too made some nasty drops in that third base.
Catastrophic. You were here for the introduction of the corn break,
I
which was very short-lived and kind of sad. We had a Last
Yeah.
Supper and never made it to the content. I'm trying to convince people to archive it and make a reel out of it at least.
Uh-huh.
It was bad,
Let's not.
but going off of that and
Uh-huh.
going off of less interviews, I feel like it's time to really get back to the breaks. This season's going to be the fish break.
Ooh,
I am saying now, it's not only going to be fish. Anything in the ocean is being a fish in these terms.
fair enough.
We're
Nothing-
talking about any water creature.
See, but like it goes away from the theme, right? It was
It's not
always
phallic.
it was always phallically shaped foods.
Yeah, it's not a phallically shaped food.
Look, if you've been watching this show long enough, you know,
man.
right? Pickles, bananas, Franks,
Corn.
corn,
There's some fish.
sea cucumber.
Yeah, there's some fish
Come
that
on
get a
now.
pass.
Come on now,
But this week I do have a full break prepared, so we're going to start it off.
hit me.
Pacific football fish. It washed up on the shore of Crystal Cove in 2023. It's a species of angler fish, typically found 650 to 3,000 feet below sea level, and only 30 have been found on shore since their discovery in 1985.
Wow.
I didn't do it, but I can only imagine it won the Rookie of the Year race in 1985 for its respective sport.
True.
Pacific football fish. Cool one, cool one. This one, though, you guys like quizzes. You like guessing.
Mhm.
Okay.
This University of Kansas free safety went undrafted in 2017 before playing for the Commanders, Cardinals, Chargers, Jaguars, and Ravens.
Free safety. 2017 out of Kansas, undrafted.
If you need a hint, let
Is
me
the
know.
last name a fish?
I can't tell you that.
I'm trying to think like tuna, salmon.
You want a little hint?
Yeah.
Sure.
He recorded 1 tackle in his career.
Word.
Man.
one more tackle than me.
I'll just come out and bring it. His name, Fish Smithson.
Huh.
It was a nickname. His name's Anthony, but he is called Fish Smithson.
So much
And-
more oral with the fish name.
I
True.
found out the reason he's going by Fish. He was scared of fishes as a kid, and his grandma just started calling him Fish. Which is
Wow.
kind of funny. Like, you're terrified of this animal, and you just start getting called it.
That's tough.
Yeah. Maybe that's where Kool-Aid McKitchery came from.
Maybe.
Maybe.
And then the last one, we know who's playing in the playoffs right now in the NFL. But have you guys been seeing what Fish Like Mike has been doing on TikTok until the Bills win the Super Bowl?
I have not.
I have not.
Fish Like Mike catches a fish every day, pulls it out the water, holds it up, makes it watch at least a minute of Josh Allen highlights before getting released.
That's amazing.
That's good. That's good.
That's the inaugural fish break.
You
Don't
guys
want to
have
use
to
all
win
my
the Super
content
Bowl
early.
now.
but
Bill's got to do it now.
End
Bill's
this
got to do it,
scandal.
otherwise there's going to be a lot of fish being caught and released.
Fish are gonna know ball though.
Fish are going to know ball.
Facts.
They did also do the Bills social media team put out a clip where it was a deer watching Josh Allen highlights from the side of the road, and they showed Josh Allen deer highlights practice, letting a goat respect a goat.
Game respects game, bro. Game recognized game.
Game recognizes game. But let's get on to the actual NFL playoffs.
Come on now.
Let's go Commanders.
All right, bro.
I really thought the Eagles were kind of washed at this point. Like Jalen Hurts,
They just win.
doesn't feel like that guy.
Yeah, it's been a really weird season for Jalen. Of course, signing a guy like Saquon Barkley, a generational running back, that kind of contract is good for any team. And with this offensive line, which, he's been utilizing to the fullest of his potential, he could win Offensive Player of the Year. I think to me, he's my front runner. I know at the beginning of the year, before the season started, we kind of had our predictions as for all of our awards. We were horrendously wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong. But would you say I was that wrong by saying Sam Darnold would be MVP?
No. And it's so funny because I showed my guys at Street Logic that clip. And since then, every time, because, our show, we cover a lot of fantasy football stuff, right? So, Sam Darnold for the first, 9 weeks of the year was going on a tear. And we were like, shout out Matt for the Sam Darnold call.
I would just
you,
always
bro.
comment on all the posts, where's Sam Darnold in this top 5?
Facts. No,
Where's
it
he
was,
at?
but then, I was not anticipating McCaffrey. Sorry, Matt.
I was. Came on.
I think you did predict
Yeah.
that.
You did.
You put him on the cover of Madden.
That's true. This is true.
He was
but
doomed.
even Justin Jefferson had a really quiet year. I didn't think Jamar Chase was gonna have the year that he had, Triple Crown, especially with the way that the Bengals started the year. Terrible. But no, Saquon, he's been great. And all the AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts stuff that comes out. What you don't want Jalen to do is throw the ball. Right? We don't want him throwing 30 passes, 40 passes a game. That's not his style. But you take away his legs, which happened in that Rams game, right? He tweaked his knee a little bit. He had to kind of throw a little bit. But all he had to do, hand it off to 26, and he'll do the rest. Now, I think we'll beat the Commanders, not handedly, but I think we'll win. But it's a tricky one. I can't foresee us winning the Super Bowl, even if we get there, because I do think that both of those teams, the Chiefs and the Bills, have our number. So it's a tricky one.
I saw an interesting stat the other day. It said the Eagles had won 14 out of their last 15 games, the one loss coming to the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs, Mahomes specifically, because he didn't play that game against Denver at the end of the year,
Right.
has won 21 out of his last 22 games, the one game
The Bills.
to the Bills.
Okay. We do have to hop over to the Bills because we got
My
4
guy.
minutes before we're getting booted out of this place.
Yeah.
Did we think Josh Allen was good in that game?
Josh
he didn't
Allen?
lose it.
Yeah.
He didn't lose it. Yeah, that's part of his trick. He did what he had to do.
Did you think he was going to lateral that ball?
He thought about it.
He thought about it.
Wanted to.
That's my favorite version of Josh Allen, but I am happy he
I think
played a safe game.
He
clean
played a
game,
safe game, and look, he did what he had to do, and the defense stepped up massively,
which hasn't been a thing for him.
which has not been a thing
Yeah.
for them this season. And look, you have a slightly above average performance from Lamar. Had the fumble lost, interception, but was decent on the ground. Mark Andrews, brutal game. That drop on the 2-point conversion, the strip fumble that he got when he's running sideways and not forwards. It sucks for a guy like Lamar, who I think up to this point of his career, I think should have been a Super Bowl champion already if it had not been for Mahomes and Allen.
I've been thinking about it a lot, and I just hate the fact that NFL playoffs are one loss.
One game, yeah.
Emmanuel Acho, I'm pretty sure was talking about how the loser of this game gains nothing for their legacy, which is such a waste for a season where you can play that good and just one game wipes it out.
Yeah.
Lamar and Allen.
Look at the Lions.
Yeah.
15-2, one of the best regular seasons that we've seen, one of the most dominant teams that we've seen in a regular season in a long time, and they go out in the divisional round.
And now you're looking at, I saw this TikTok from some Detroit radio, and they're like, did we just blow our 2 best chances at a Super Bowl ever?
100%
Because, last year they had a 17-point lead in the NFC Championship team. In the NFC Championship game with a damn
To
good
you
team.
guys.
Yeah. And then this year you have basically a dream season. I mean, there was a lot of injuries.
So many.
But still, I mean, 15-2, you get the bye. And you have a rookie quarterback coming into your stadium.
Was it the coach already
Is it Campbell?
signing? No, the assistant.
Ben Johnson?
Yeah, he was saying he was already getting his staff ready.
Yeah, he was. Maybe. But then, like Matt said, like the injuries was not losing Aiden Hutchinson like halfway through the year was not, and they were never really able to replenish him.
Yeah.
And he was the defensive player of the year before he went down, and that leg injury looked freaking brutal, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have a dream season on both sides of the ball, like top defense, top offense. Like Goff was playing out of his mind up until that game. Threw 3 interceptions, and like 2 of them were in the fourth quarter. He was making some of the play calling was not great down the stretch offensively for the Lions. But I mean, we did a whole recap on this on Street Logic. We went through every single game. You can check us out on Street Logic Sports. Me and Isaiah, we recapped all the games. But and we also posted a 3-part series on how to fix the NBA.
I watched some of that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. But it's going to be a good playoffs, though. I mean, my dream Super Bowl was Bills-Lions.
Okay.
I just wanted to see someone different in the big game, kind of like how Rams-Bengals was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Eagles, as much as I would like to see it from my
No
own
one in
heart,
America wants
no
Eagles
one in
Chiefs.
America wants
That's
Eagles
worst case
Chiefs.
scenario.
Commanders, Bills.
Commanders, Bills. You know what? Even though they're a divisional rival, I can be happy with that. I will be kind of okay with it. And you know what? Seeing Zach Ertz potentially get a second Super Bowl, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not complaining about that, you know? And I think Josh Allen will finally kind of get the respect that I think he rightfully deserves, and if he does win a Super Bowl, right? He's been long overdue an MVP. Now, go get yourself a ring.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave Haley Steinfeld a ring. Go get your own.
That's a good place to end it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do the outro?
Sure. First of all, I want to pray that Josh Allen beats the Chiefs on Sunday. I cannot live through another Chiefs Super Bowl. Please, Josh Allen, please, if you're here with us, save us, please. We're gonna watch that on Wednesday, and probably gonna be sad, but whatever. Thank you so much for joining us for season 5, episode 1 of Teed Up. Thank you to our video and editor producer Aiden Swanepoel and our multimedia producer Elle Nicklin. If you want to stay updated on the latest in Long Beach State sports, check out our website lbcurrent.com and follow us on socials at lbcurrent. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening.
Check us out.
See you later.
Street Logic Sports. We're gonna fix the NBA.